Welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Milind Wakankar and I'm very excited to discuss something very new in this particular video. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe our channel and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you won't miss any one of our further videos. So let's begin with this. Hello students. Today we are going to see one very important method of solving the problem. Normally, you solve the problems in mathematics by what you call as the direct method. Obvious question will be, what is direct method? The method in which normally you use some rules and solve the problem. Maybe some formulas, something like a plus b, the bracket square is a square plus 2ab plus b square, something like that. But there will be few problems in mathematics, or rather there are few problems in mathematics which cannot be solved by direct method, and hence we need to apply the indirect method. Now what is indirect method? Now on a lighter note I will say the one which is not direct method. On a serious note, let's see what is the method where I am going to consider the indirect method is the only method to solve the problem. Now first thing that you have to remember is that first step of the answer wherever you are going to apply the indirect method will be always exactly mathematical opposite statement to what you have to prove. Now maybe a bit difficult for you to understand, so let us begin with one question where I will be applying the indirect method. Okay? Show that root 2 is not a rational number. Just now I said in the first step of my answer, what I have to write is exactly mathematically opposite statement to what you have to prove. What are you supposed to prove? Root 2 is not a rational number. Now there are two ways to make this statement opposite mathematically. One is you cancel the word not. So your first statement can begin as root 2 is a rational number. मैंने not निकाल दिया तो opposite बन गया. Or you take the opposite word of rational in mathematics, which is irrational. So you will say root 2 is not an irrational number. So either you make the opposite of the word not or the opposite of word rational in mathematics. Okay. So let's see. I'm beginning with, let us assume that root 2 is not an irrational number. So मैंने rational का opposite word चुन लिया है. Okay. Now, as you have written this statement, it will keep on giving you additional statements. Let's see what is the statement. When I say that root 2 is not an irrational number, in mathematics, up to 10th standard, you learn up to real numbers. Okay, you don't go beyond real numbers. So your scope of syllabus is only limited up to real numbers. They comprises of, right from the beginning, I'm considering some sets. Natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, then the rational numbers, irrational numbers, and all these are in a set called as the real numbers. So real numbers has two major parts, rational and irrational. अगर नंबर रैशनल होगा तो ऑब्वियसली वो इर्रेशनल नहीं होगा, एंड वाइस वर्सा अगर नंबर इर्रेशनल नहीं है तो वो रैशनल है, वाइस वर्सा एज आई सेड. रैशनल है तो इर्रेशनल नहीं, irrational है तो rational नहीं. So when I say it is not an irrational number, it is obvious opposite of irrational will be rational. So I will say root 2 is a rational number. Now you have already gone through one very important concept of rational number. That is, it is the number which we can write or represent in the form of a by b, you can say p by q, where your denominator is not equal to 0 and it is in the simplest form. मतलब you cannot now simplify it further. For example, अगर मैंने number लिख दिया 10/2, can you simplify it further? Yes. 10/2 को मैं simplify कर सकता हूँ 5/1. But can you simplify 2/3 further? No. So what I am trying to say that we can write down this number in the simplest form as a/b or p/q, where no further simplification is possible and the denominator is not equal to 0. So I am saying that let us assume that root 2 is equal to P upon Q. Obviously, both the numerator and denominator must be integers. Denominator not equal to 0, and as I said, they do not have any common factor. मतलब आगे simplification possible नहीं है. Okay. Now what I am going to do is I am going to take the square on both sides. So if I square this, root 2 का square बन जाएगा 2, p का square p square, q का square q square. I hope you have understood this step. I am taking the square on both the sides. So root 2 square is 2, square of p is p square, and that of q obviously will be q square. I hope you have understood the step, right? Now, I am going to transfer this q square on the left hand side, which will give me the step 2q square equal to p square. Now, let us understand one important concept about what happens when you multiply an integer by 2. Okay, so let's consider this case. Let's understand the concept in detail. That is what I was discussing, that if you multiply the integer by 2, what happens? Let's take this example. If I multiply 2 by 3, I got the answer 6. Okay, so I'm going to take some examples and then we will make the conclusion. I'm multiplying 2 by 4, the product is 8. By 7, the product is 14. Now, if you observe all these numbers, what do you observe? Number 6, number 8, number 14, number 64. They are all even numbers. So, can I say they are the multiples of 2? Yes, because they all are divisible by 2, right? In short, if I multiply 3, 4, 7, 32 by 2, that is, if I multiply the integer by 2, the resultant value, which is an even number or is a multiple of 2, correct? So, my conclusion is, as I am multiplying q square by 2, 2q square must be an even number, or I will say it is the multiple of 2. So, my conclusion is p square, which is equal to 2q square. So, as 2q square is a multiple of 2, p square also must be multiple of 2. Now, if square of p is multiple of 2, uska square root, what will be the square root of p square? P. P also must be the multiple of 2. Let's take a simple example. 64. 64 is a square of 8. Is 64 multiple of 2? Yes, because 32 is multiplied by 2, giving me the result 64. 64 is a square of 8. As 64 is multiple of 2, what is the square root of 64? 8. Is 8 a multiple of 2? Yes. So, I will make the conclusion p, which is the square root of p square, is also multiple of 2. So, I hope you have understood up to this part. So, I got equation number 1 and this equation number 2. Let's go ahead. So, we have written up to this. So, I am not again revising this. Okay. So, next step. Now, what I am going to do is, I am going to consider p is equal to 2t. Here, wherever I have got this p is a multiple of 2, I am considering p as 2t, and again I am going to consider the square. So, if I take the square, p square is equal to 4t square. Square of p, p square. Square of 2t is 2t. The bracket square is 4t square. But what is p square? P square is equal to 2q square. So, I will replace p square by 2q square. So, check it. P square is equal to 2q square. So, I will get 2q square in the place of p square equal to 4t square. Can we divide both the sides by 2? Yes. So, if I divide this by 2, I will be getting q square. If I divide this by 2, I will get 2t square. So, now after dividing both sides by 2, again if you just see the number 2t square, is t an integer? Yes, because I am considering p equal to 2t, and right in the beginning we have got p as an integer. So, t is also going to be an integer. As t is integer, square of 2t will be integer, and t square when multiplied by 2, just now we have seen when you multiply the integer by 2, the number is multiple of 2 or even number. आप दोनों तरफ से बोल सकते हो. Okay, so this is an integer making q square is also going to be multiple of 2 or is an even number. So my conclusion is q square is multiple of 2, and same as we said p square is multiple of 2, so p is a multiple of 2. So iska square root, what will be the square root of q square? Q will also be multiple of 2. I hope you have understood up to this. So step number 2 or equation number 2 you can say is a multiple of 2. P is a multiple of 2. Q is also multiple of 2. So can we say P and Q both are having 2 as a common factor? Yes. So my conclusion is from 2 and 3, P, Q do have 2 as a common factor. Now this statement, if you compare with this, you will realize there is some contradiction to this. What is the meaning of contradiction? At one place you are saying that they do not have any common factor, and in the same question, maybe after some steps, you are saying that they have 2 as a common factor. So these two are making contradiction. So this is a typical word normally used in your all the mathematics questions. Okay, so when I come across this kind of a contradiction, I have to check why do I come across this contradiction. So this contradiction has appeared because of this, this has appeared because of this, so on and so forth. You will keep on giving what you can say reason why you are getting that step. So I am getting this step because this step has appeared, I got this step because of this step, so on and so forth. You will ultimately blame this statement and then this statement, that whatever we have assumed itself was wrong, because we have got all these statements because we started with root 2 is not an irrational number. So my conclusion is, as I said, it is a contradiction. Root 2 is an irrational number. That is, it is not a rational number. Okay, maybe a bit lengthy one, but this method as well as this question is very important from 9th standard as well as from the 10th standard point of view across all the boards. I hope you have understood this question. Okay, thank you very much. That's all for this video. Do like this video. We hope you found it very informative and enjoyed watching this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.